Hi everyone, we're back again for another puppy update. What has happened this week? Nothing much has happened this week. We've been going to work, come back home from work. It's just been one of those weeks where we just do the same thing over and over. I think the biggest thing that happened was that I let Cali off lead for the first time ever. I've always been scared to, because I'm petrified of something happening. Something stupid like her getting hit by a car, or in my case a tractor, or something, something big and bad happening, something that would mean I wouldn't have her in my life. That's always been a really, really big thing for me. But her recall has been 99 out of 100, if not 100 at times. And I thought, right, we've got a large field at the moment that has no cattle in it. There's cattle a couple of fields away from it and whatever, but it seems like a pretty good field to run in. So I took her on the long line at first, gave her a couple of practice recalls, and they were all spot on, so I let her off. And she had the time of her life. She really did. She ran and ran and ran, and we walked around the field once, twice, and I was calling her every so often, and her recalls were super. She just loved running around, sniffing this, sniffing that, rolling in this and that. She really did. She had so much fun. And I've never seen her run so much. She really did have a good time. And as we were walking back up, because the field was on a hill, so we were walking back up, but the gate was like over in the corner, like there. We were walking up, and everything was going well. I was calling her back every so often, and then I saw her sort of jolt, and I sort of start peeking over and start trying to get better vision of what's going on. She had practically stood on an Irish hare. And the Irish hare ran very fast, and so did she, towards the hare. So, no hares were harmed in the making of this video, but it's moments like that are the reason why I'm so scared of letting her off lead, in case something happened. And something did happen, and now I'm sitting there like, I'm never going to let her off lead again, which is lies, because I eventually will. So she basically stood on it. It was lying so close down to the ground, and she was just running about, enjoying herself. She basically stood on it. It zoomed off up into the far corner of the field. She zoomed off into the far corner of the field. I've never seen her go that fast in my life. I've had her for nearly a year, and she's never gone that fast ever. Her back legs are nearly parallel with her spine. Spine here, back legs out like this. It was insane. And she ran, and she ran, and she ran, and then she eventually lost the track of the hare, because it must have ducked and dived into wind bushes and stuff like that. I'm surprised she didn't, just straight up bowl into a bunch of spiky bushes, because that's her type. She just would do that. But she didn't. She instead just started tracking it. And that's the problem, because for her, when she starts tracking, I can't call her. There is no way I can call her, because her nose is down to the ground the entire time. And if I call her when she's doing that, she's not going to listen. So I had to let her track off lead and just do her thing. But thankfully it ran into another two fields of ours. What had happened, it ran into a far one, and then had crossed underneath the barbed wire fence into the next one over. And then she did the same, obviously, because some of the fences aren't great quality, because they'll stop cattle from going through, but they won't stop rabbits, dogs, whatever. So she slipped under and just tracked it. And she tracked it for maybe, 2 minutes. And then she lifted her head, and I gave her a shout. She came back. She did come back. It was just scary just seeing her go boom. I've never seen her go that fast. I've never seen her go that fast. I mean, it is her breed, is to hunt and chase things, and, well, not chase things so much, but flush out creatures and eat them. But thankfully the hare was totally fine. It was faster than Cali. But it was totally fine. It was not harmed. She was not harmed. She came back, and she was a bit dazed, because I had to sit with her, because I asked her for a sit, whenever I put her lead back on, just for a wee minute or two, to get her back into the right field that we were supposed to be in. I put her lead on, asked her for a sit, and she was glazed over. She was just so, her cup, her little mental cup had just gone, it was just flowing over. So I had to let her chill out for a bit. I just asked her to lie down for about 15 minutes and just chill because she was just so glazed over. And then after about that, she was back to normal mentality. So, bit of a crazy dog. Yeah? Getting your belly rubs? Yeah. She's lying right behind me. I'll not show you because there's muck all over my bed sheets because someone went into the garden, into a bit of muck in the garden, and kindly spread it over my nice white quilt. So, you don't need to see that. But that's about it. It's been sort of getting a little bit nippier in the morning, so we're starting to put the jumpers back on. Because whenever I get back into the car, and it's, 8:15 in the morning, or 8:15, 8:15, so, it is cold. So I put her wee jumper on, and she likes it because I started putting jumpers on her whenever she was wee. So now whenever she sees a jumper, she goes like, this leg in, and there we go. So she's not too bad with it. Yeah. I felt really bad for her yesterday. I had an aggressive dog on the table. And one of the things with aggressive dogs is they will make a lot of noise, which is fine to me. I understand that. Everyone in the grooming area understands that some aggressive dogs will just make noise. They will scream, they will bark, they will growl. They just make noise. So I was trying to groom this aggressive dog. I was holding it and it was screeching away and doing its thing. Simply, before you think I like abuse dogs, what I was doing was I was touching the dog and it was screaming. It was one of those ones where if you touched it, it just couldn't deal with it. So I ever so gently, do a little touch and then give it some pets, around where it likes the pets, but it wouldn't let me go near its front legs. So I had to unfortunately desensitize it to letting me touch its front legs. So I was busy trying to get this done for the time that the owner was coming back. And it was screeching and getting on and making a bit of a hoo-ha. And Cali comes up and sits and then ever so gently just slightly elevates herself up on her back legs. And sort of sniffs it and tries to comfort it. Which thankfully the dog wasn't dog aggressive. But not ideal in all the situations, but it was very sweet. And I'm sure she meant well. But yeah, she just heard screeching and thought, oh, that dog must be sad. She's too nice. You're too nice. Excuse my dad, who's now decided to play the piano. I have no idea what he's even playing, but he's playing the piano now. So yeah, I don't think much else has happened. Obviously the biggest thing was the rabbit chase, because that was the biggest thing. She ran off. But her recalls have actually been okay since that. It's still been 98% maybe. There's 1 or 2 times that she didn't quite come because she'd find something to roll in. But it's been pretty decent. So I was actually quite expecting to go back out and her not to bother listening to me because there must be a rabbit out somewhere. Oh, she got stung by a wasp actually. That happened. She got stung by a wasp. Which wasn't very nice indeed. We were at Carol's and she was rummaging about in the bushes and she came out with a great zoom and was running about quite skittish, and we saw a wasp hanging off her shoulder, which wasn't great. So I had to take her home a little bit earlier because I had to get Periton and stuff like that into her before things swell up, because with her allergies she tends to swell up quite quickly. I was expecting her to react far worse to it than what she did. She puffed up a little bit around her face, was a wee bit swollen, but it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it, because there's been times where I took her to the vets because her whole face had swollen up and her nose was closing over. It was that bad. So I was expecting that, but okay, things puffed up a little bit, but it wasn't dangerous. It was just, you'll go down in a couple of hours. So that happened. I don't think she's scared of bees or buzzing sounds yet. I don't think you're quite that bad yet, but if it happened again, I think would be sunk. So, yeah, not very nice. I had to take her to the vet again yesterday, actually, for her allergies. I presume it's sort of the autumn pollen's coming in, so the things like leaves falling off the trees, so there's like a fungusy type of pollen. But around her eyes has gone quite red, and her ears, the inside of her ears has It's not actually, it's not down into the canal of her ear, which is quite interesting. It's around the inside of her ear, around the canal, but not in the canal. So I've been giving her the vet's prescribed treatment, and hopefully that'll give her some relief, because it looked quite sore. Yeah. How are you comfortable like that? She's lying down on her side, and her head is like over her spine. Does not look comfortable at all. Well, I will go, because I need to go and exercise her now. Go for a nice walk? Yeah. Rightio. I will see you all in the next video.